She signed the divorce papers without a fight, then her husband learned why she never asked him to stay. For 15 years, Emily Carter believed the safest kind of marriage was the one that looked calm from the outside. She and Daniel rarely shouted. They never threw plates. They never slept in separate rooms after arguments. They had a nice home in a quiet Ohio suburb, 2 cars in the driveway, framed vacation photos in the hallway, and a daughter named Lily who had inherited Daniel's dark eyes and Emily's habit of biting the inside of her cheek when she was nervous. From the outside, they looked stable. Dependable, the kind of couple people described as solid. Emily had believed that too, until the night she discovered that Daniel had been sleeping with another woman for almost a year. There was nothing dramatic about the discovery. No lipstick on a collar, no hotel receipt, no stranger answering his phone. It happened because Daniel left his laptop open on the kitchen counter while he took a shower. Emily had not been snooping. She had been looking for the address of a restaurant he mentioned for Lily's birthday. A message appeared in the corner of the screen. "I miss waking up next to you." Emily froze. The sender's name was Rachel Monroe. Emily knew Rachel not well enough. She worked with Daniel at the architecture firm where he had been a senior project manager for 6 years. Rachel had been at their house twice for office gatherings. Once she had stood in Emily's kitchen holding a glass of wine and complimented the backsplash. Emily remembered smiling and saying, "Daniel picked it." Rachel had laughed. Of course he did. At the time, there had been nothing suspicious in the words. Now they felt radioactive. Emily clicked the message, then another, then another. A year of conversations opened in front of her. Hotels, lunches, inside jokes, photos, messages sent while Daniel had been sitting beside Emily on the couch. Messages from business trips Emily had helped him pack for. Messages sent on their anniversary. One from Rachel read, "She really has no idea?" Daniel had replied, "No, she trusts me." Emily stopped reading. She closed the laptop, then stood in the kitchen with both hands on the counter and tried to breathe. The shower stopped upstairs. For one strange second, Emily thought of dinner. Chicken was in the oven. Lily had soccer practice the next morning. The dishwasher needed unloading. There was a permission form on the refrigerator. The ordinary details of life remained in place, even though the marriage underneath them had just collapsed. Daniel came downstairs 10 minutes later wearing sweatpants and a gray t-shirt. His hair was still wet. He saw Emily standing in the kitchen. "You okay?" Emily looked at him. 15 years. She had known the shape of his face longer than she had known most of her adult friends. She knew the tiny scar above his right eyebrow. She knew he hated mushrooms and loved bad action movies. She knew how he sounded when he was pretending not to be worried. She knew what his hand felt like reaching for hers in the dark. And apparently, she did not know him at all. "Who is Rachel?" she asked. The color left his face. That was the first answer. The second was silence. Emily nodded. Daniel looked toward the laptop, then back at her. "Emily, how long?" He swallowed. "Can we sit down?" "How long?" He rubbed his face. "Almost a year." Emily felt something inside her go still. Not rage, not yet, something colder. "Almost a year. I'm sorry." She laughed once. It sounded unfamiliar. "Is that what people say?" "What?" "After almost a year, I'm sorry." Daniel stepped closer. Emily moved back. He stopped. "Please let me explain." "No." "Emily." "No." She walked toward the stairs. Daniel followed. "Where are you going?" "To check on Lily. She's asleep." "I know." "Then please talk to me." Emily turned. "About what?" His face crumpled. "The truth." She looked at him. The truth had a year to arrive. Then she went upstairs. She did not sleep. Daniel stayed downstairs. At 3 in the morning, Emily sat on Lily's bedroom floor beside the bed and watched her daughter breathe. Lily was 14, old enough to notice everything, young enough to still believe her parents were permanent. Emily's chest hurt, not because Daniel had chosen someone else. That thought had not fully arrived yet. What hurt was imagining Lily's face when the truth reached her. At 7, Emily made pancakes. Daniel appeared in the kitchen looking exhausted. Lily came downstairs in pajamas. "Why do you both look weird?" Emily forced a smile. "Bad sleep." Daniel stared at the floor. Lily grabbed orange juice. "Can I go to Maya's after practice?" "Yes," Emily said. Daniel said, sure. Their voices overlapped. Lily narrowed her eyes. You're definitely weird. Emily almost cried. Instead, she flipped a pancake. For the next 3 days, Daniel tried to talk. Emily refused, not forever, just until she knew what she wanted to say. That terrified him more than yelling would have. He slept in the guest room. He stopped seeing Rachel. At least he said he did. Emily did not check. Trust, she realized, was strange. Once broken, even proof could not restore it quickly. On the fourth night, after Lily went to bed, Emily sat across from Daniel at the dining table. He looked as though he had been waiting for a trial. Maybe he had. Tell me everything, Emily said. He closed his eyes, then he did. It started during a project in Cincinnati. Late nights, drinks after meetings, conversations, a kiss, then a hotel room, then months of excuses. Daniel said he had never planned to leave Emily. That sentence did not comfort her. It made things worse. So I was what? She asked. The house you planned to come back to. No. The dependable part. No. The wife you wanted to keep while you had someone else. Daniel's eyes filled. I was selfish. And yes, I don't have a better explanation. Emily stared at him. Did you love her? He hesitated. Emily looked away. That hesitation is an answer. I thought I did. And now? I don't know. Emily nodded. Did she love you? I think so. Did she know about Lily? And yes. Did she know about me? And yes. Did you talk about leaving? Daniel went quiet. Emily's hands tightened under the table. Did you? And yes. The word was barely audible. She looked at him. When? A few months ago. What did you say? I said I couldn't. Because you loved me. Daniel's face changed. Emily saw it. Not because. Not only because. Why? She asked. Because of Lily. There it was. Emily nodded slowly. You stayed for our daughter. I stayed because I didn't want to destroy our family. You were already destroying it. I know. No, you know now. Daniel looked down. Emily stood. I want a divorce. He looked up so fast the chair moved. What? I want a divorce. Emily, please. I'm not deciding tonight. You just decided. I decided what I want. The paperwork can wait. He stood. Please don't do this. She laughed bitterly. Do what? End everything without even trying. Emily stared at him. You had a year-long affair. I know. You discussed leaving me. I know. You lied every day. I know. And now you are asking why I'm not trying. Daniel put both hands on the back of his chair. I'll do therapy. That is good. I'll leave the firm. That is probably good too. I'll give you access to everything. You should. I'll do anything. Emily's eyes filled. That is the problem. What? You are offering everything now that there is a consequence. Daniel looked shattered. Emily continued. I begged for your attention for 2 years. I didn't know. Yes, you did. He opened his mouth. She stopped him. I told you I was lonely. You said we were disconnected. I asked for weekends together. I was working. You were with Rachel. Silence. I asked whether something was wrong. Daniel looked away. You told me I was imagining distance because I was stressed. He covered his face. Emily's voice cracked. You made me doubt my own instincts so you could keep lying. I'm sorry. I know, she wiped her eyes, but sorry is not a time machine. They told Lily the following weekend. They did not tell her about the affair immediately. Emily wanted to. Daniel asked for time. They agreed on one sentence. We have had problems in our marriage, and we have decided to separate. Lily stared at them from the couch. No. Emily's heart broke, sweetheart. No. Lily stood. You decide to separate, like a group project. Daniel looked down. Lily's eyes filled. What happened? Emily and Daniel looked at each other. Lily saw it. Dad. Daniel swallowed. I made a serious mistake. What mistake? Emily closed her eyes. Daniel said, I was unfaithful. Lily went completely still. What does that mean? She knew what it meant. Emily knew she knew. Daniel answered anyway. I had a relationship with someone else. Lily looked at Emily, then back at him. You cheated on Mom. And yes. Lily slapped him. The sound shocked everyone. Daniel did not move. Lily immediately started crying. I hate you. Lily. I hate you. She ran upstairs. Daniel sat down. Emily stood. I'll go. He shook his head. No, she needs you. She needs both of us. She doesn't want me. Then prove you can stay even when she doesn't. That was one of the hardest things Emily ever said, because part of her wanted Daniel to disappear, but she refused to make Lily carry the adult punishment. Over the next month, their house became a place of careful movement. Daniel rented an apartment nearby. Emily stayed in the house with Lily. They met with attorneys. They divided accounts. Daniel agreed to nearly everything Emily requested. He did not fight over the house. He did not fight over custody. He did not fight over retirement accounts. That made Emily suspicious. Her attorney, Corinne Blake, noticed. He's being unusually cooperative. Is that bad? Not necessarily. Then why do you sound concerned? Corinne leaned back. People are complicated. Sometimes guilt makes divorces easier. Sometimes it makes people sign things before they fully understand what they're giving away. Emily almost smiled. That sounds like his problem. Corinne smiled too, for now. Rachel left the firm 2 months later. Emily found out from a mutual friend. She did not ask why. Daniel never mentioned her. The divorce moved quickly, too quickly for everyone except Emily. Friends were shocked. Her mother called every evening. Her sister, Megan, drove 3 hours just to sit in the kitchen and say, "You don't have to be strong around me." Emily laughed. I'm not being strong. You are organizing paperwork by color. That is coping. That is terrifying. They both laughed. Then Emily cried. The strangest part was how functional she remained. She worked, she packed lunches, she attended Lily's school meetings, she changed the air filters, she paid bills. Heartbreak did not make her incapable. That almost felt insulting. She had expected betrayal to flatten her. Instead, it forced her to discover how many things she had already been carrying alone. 3 weeks before the final divorce hearing, Daniel asked to meet. Emily almost refused, then agreed. They chose a quiet coffee shop. He arrived early. When Emily sat down, she noticed he looked thinner. You okay? She asked automatically. Then hated herself for asking. Daniel smiled sadly. Habit. What? You still ask. Emily looked away. He slid a folder across the table. What is this? Financial disclosure. My attorney has all of that. Not this. Emily opened it. Inside were documents for an investment account she did not recognize. The balance was $184,000. She looked up. What is this? Daniel rubbed his hands together. Money I moved over several years. Emily's chest tightened. Moved from where? Bonuses, consulting, some stock compensation. You hid money. And yes. She stared at him. The betrayal expanded, not because of the amount, because secrets apparently had rooms inside rooms. Why? At first, I told myself it was for emergencies. From me. No. Then why didn't I know? Daniel looked ashamed, because later I thought if we divorced, I'd have something separate. Emily almost laughed. You were planning for divorce. I didn't consciously think of it that way. Please do not insult both of us. He looked down, okay. Emily closed the folder. I'm giving it to Karen. I know. You understand half may be marital property. And yes. Why tell me now? Daniel looked at her. Because I'm trying to stop being the person who lies when the truth costs him something. Emily did not know what to say. For the first time, his apology felt less like a strategy. Not because it repaired anything, because it cost him. That mattered. Still, she gave the folder to Karen. The divorce was finalized on a rainy Thursday in March. The hearing lasted 23 minutes. 15 years of marriage ended in less time than it once took them to choose a restaurant. Emily sat beside Karen. Daniel sat across the aisle with his attorney. When the judge asked whether the marriage was irretrievably broken, Emily said yes. Daniel hesitated, then said yes too. The decree was entered. That was it. Outside the courthouse, Daniel stood under the awning. Emily walked toward the parking lot. Emily. She stopped. He looked at her, I'm sorry. She nodded, I know. I know that doesn't change anything. No. He swallowed, do you hate me? Emily thought about it. No. He looked surprised. I hated what you did. I hated who I became while I was trying to understand why you felt so far away. Daniel's eyes filled. But I don't want to spend the rest of my life hating you. He nodded, thank you. That wasn't for you. I know. Emily walked away. For 6 months, divorce felt mostly administrative. Schedules, bills, holidays, custody exchanges. Lily spent every other weekend with Daniel. At first, she barely spoke to him. Daniel did not push. He took her to breakfast. He drove her to practice. He sat through silence. One evening, Lily called Emily from his apartment. Can I come home? Emily almost said yes immediately, then asked what happened. Nothing. Did Dad do something? No. Then why? I don't want to be here. Emily took a breath. What did you agree to do tonight? Watched a movie. Then watch the movie. Mom. You are allowed to be angry at him. I am. You are allowed not to trust him. I don't. But you are not allowed to punish him forever for something he did to me. Lily started crying. He did it to us. Emily's throat tightened. And yes, that was true. He broke our family. And yes. So why are you defending him? I'm not. It sounds like it. Emily sat down. I'm defending your right to have whatever relationship with your father you choose, not the relationship I choose for you. Lily was quiet. That is unfair. I know. You always say that. Because life keeps being unfair. Lily laughed through tears. She stayed. A year passed. Emily changed slowly. At first, everything she did felt like proof she could survive. She repainted the bedroom. She took a weekend trip alone. She cut her hair shorter. Then survival stopped being the point. She joined a hiking group. She took a pottery class. She accepted a promotion that required travel. For the first time since Lily was born, she made decisions without asking what Daniel's schedule was. Freedom did not feel joyful every day. Sometimes it felt lonely. But loneliness chosen was different from loneliness inside a marriage. Daniel changed too. He left the architecture firm, not because Emily asked, because he said he could not walk into the same building every day and pretend the person he had been there was someone else. He started therapy. He moved to a smaller apartment. He stopped drinking for several months, not because alcohol had caused the affair, but because he realized he used it whenever he wanted not to think. Lily slowly began trusting him again, not completely, enough. Then 14 months after the divorce, Daniel's father died. Robert Carter had been 78, a heart attack, sudden. Emily attended the funeral. She sat 2 rows behind Daniel with Lily. At the reception, Daniel's mother, Margaret, hugged Emily for a long time. You'll always be family to me. Emily's eyes filled, thank you. Margaret looked toward Daniel, he misses you. Emily stiffened. Margaret immediately shook her head. I'm sorry, that was not fair. Emily almost smiled. Everyone keeps saying that. Margaret laughed sadly. Later, Daniel found Emily outside the church. Thank you for coming. I loved your father. He loved you. They stood quietly. Then Daniel said, Can I ask you something? That depends. He almost smiled. Did you ever regret it? The divorce. Yes. Emily looked at him. No. The answer hurt him. She saw it, but it was true. I regret that we got to the point where divorce was necessary. Daniel nodded. That is different. Yes. Do you think we could ever? No. He stopped. Emily's voice softened. Do not ask me that while you're grieving. He looked away. You're right. I know. He laughed. For the first time, they felt like two people who had once loved each other, instead of two people still standing in the ruins. Then came the second betrayal. Not Daniel's. Emily's. Or at least that was how Lily saw it. Lily was 16 now. One Saturday, while looking for her passport in Emily's office, she found an envelope from Karen Blake. Inside was a copy of the final divorce settlement. She read it. Then she found something else. A handwritten note Emily had made before mediation. Do not ask for the business interest. Let him keep it. Do not disclose the college account yet. Transfer after finalization. Lily stared at the words. College account. She knew about a 529 plan. This was something else. She searched the desk, then found statements. $82,000. An account in Emily's name, funded over years. Lily waited until Emily came home. What is this? Emily froze when she saw the papers. Where did you get that? Your desk. You went through my desk. I was looking for my passport. Emily set down her bag. Sit down. No. Lily. No, what is this account? Emily's stomach tightened. For college. I have a college account. You have to. Why? Emily hesitated. That was a mistake. Lily's eyes narrowed. Did Dad know? No. The room changed. You hid money from Dad. Emily sat down. Yes. Lily stared. How long? Since you were 8. Why? Emily looked at her daughter. Because she had once been afraid. Because years before the affair, before she knew anything about Rachel, she had watched Daniel take enormous financial risks. He had invested in a friend's startup without telling her. He had lost $27,000. They nearly missed a mortgage payment. Daniel apologized. They recovered. But something in Emily changed. She began putting money aside. Not to leave him, not exactly. To know she could. I was afraid of being financially trapped, Emily said. Lily's face hardened. So you were planning to leave Dad too? No. You had secret money. And yes. You judged him for hiding money. And yes. But you did the same thing. Emily closed her eyes. Yes. Lily laughed bitterly. You are both liars. Lily. No, you made him the villain. He had an affair. That doesn't make everything you did okay. Emily's throat tightened. No. Lily started crying. You told me Dad broke the family. I said his choices ended the marriage. You never told me you were hiding things too. You were 14. You always use my age when you don't want to tell me something. Emily went still. The words were familiar, painfully familiar. Why did you keep the account after the divorce? For you. Then why hide it? Because I didn't want your father to argue about it during the settlement. Would he have? I don't know. You didn't give him the chance. No. Lily looked at her mother differently. That hurt more than anger. She left and went to Daniel's apartment. Emily let her. 2 hours later, Daniel called. What happened? Emily told him. He was quiet. Then said, I knew. Emily froze. What? I knew about the account. How? I found a statement years ago. Why didn't you say anything? Daniel laughed softly, because I knew why you had it. You knew. After the startup disaster, yes. Emily sat down. I thought you would leave. I thought you might. Why didn't you confront me? Because I was ashamed, you felt like you needed it. Emily covered her face. Lily's voice came through the speaker in the background. You knew too. Daniel said, Lily, wait. No, both of you knew. Emily closed her eyes. Daniel put the phone on speaker. Lily sounded furious. So this entire family just lives by not saying things. Nobody answered. That is insane. Emily almost laughed because her daughter was right. Lily continued. Dad cheated. Mom hid money. Dad hid money. Mom knew Dad was distant. Dad knew Mom was scared. Everyone knew half the truth and just decided silence was easier. Daniel said quietly, yes. Emily said, yes. Lily cried, I hate this. Emily's eyes filled, I know. For the next 2 weeks, Lily stayed mostly with Daniel. Emily did not stop her. The old panic returned. What if Lily chose him? The thought embarrassed her. Children were not property, love was not a custody score, still rejection hurt. Then one evening, Daniel came to Emily's house. She opened the door. Is Lily okay? And yes. Then why are you here? He held an envelope, she wrote something. Emily's heart tightened, for me. For both of us. They sat at the kitchen table. Daniel opened the letter. Lily's handwriting filled 3 pages. I am tired of being the child in a story where both adults keep deciding what truth I can handle. Emily closed her eyes. Daniel continued. I know Dad's affair was wrong. I know Mom hiding money is not the same thing as cheating. I'm not saying everything is equal. I am saying both of you taught me that love means managing what the other person knows. That scared me. Because I do it too. I tell Mom I'm fine so she doesn't worry. I tell Dad I forgive him more than I do because I don't want him to feel guilty. I tell both of you different things because I'm afraid honesty will start another fight. I don't want to become that. Emily began crying. Daniel's voice shook as he read. So here is what I want. No more protecting me with lies. No more you're too young. No more I didn't want to hurt you. If something affects me, tell me the truth. If you are angry, say it. If you are scared, say it. If you don't know, say that too. I love both of you. I am angry at both of you. I trust both of you differently than before. Maybe that is what growing up is. Love. Lily. Daniel lowered the pages. Emily stared at the table. She's better than us. Daniel smiled sadly. She had 2 bad examples. Emily laughed through tears. Then became serious. I'm sorry I hid the account. Daniel looked at her. You do not owe me that apology because I cheated. I know. He waited. I owe it because I was dishonest. Daniel nodded, thank you. Emily looked at him. I'm sorry you ever thought you had to hide money too. His eyes filled. I'm sorry I made the marriage feel unsafe. That was different. He did not say he was sorry only for Rachel. He finally understood that the affair had grown in a marriage already full of silences, resentments, and fear. It did not excuse him. It explained the soil. Over the next year, Emily and Daniel did something strange. They became better divorced than they had been married. Not romantic. Never that. Honest. They argued without threatening the relationship. They discussed money openly. They coordinated Lily's college plans. They sat together at school events. They stopped pretending. When Lily was accepted to Northwestern, Emily cried. Daniel cried. Lily rolled her eyes and cried too. At dinner, Daniel raised his glass to Lily. Emily added, and to the secret college account. Lily groaned too soon. Absolutely not, Daniel said. They laughed. That night, after Lily went upstairs, Daniel helped Emily clear plates. You know what's strange, he said. What? We're finally the family I thought we were before. Emily looked at him. No. He waited. We're a different family. Better. In some ways. Worse. In some ways. He smiled fair. Emily dried a plate. Daniel said, I still love you. She stopped. He did not look at her. I'm not asking for anything. Emily set down the towel. I know. I just don't want to lie anymore. Her eyes filled. I love you too. Daniel looked at her. But not in a way that means we should be married. He nodded. I know. That used to confuse me. What changed? Emily thought about it. I learned love is not always instructions. Daniel smiled. That sounds like something Lily would say. Probably. Years passed. Lily went to college, then law school. Emily laughed when she realized her daughter had chosen the same profession as Corinne Blake. Of course you did. Lily smiled. I enjoy conflict with paperwork. Daniel remarried when Lily was 22. Her name was Sarah. Emily liked her. That surprised everyone. Sarah was a pediatric nurse, divorced once, direct, funny, and completely uninterested in pretending Daniel had no past. The first time they met, Sarah said, I know who you are. Emily raised an eyebrow. That sounds threatening. Sarah laughed. I mean, Daniel told me everything. Everything. As far as I know. Emily smiled. That phrase is doing a lot of work. They became friendly, not close but kind. When Daniel and Sarah married, Emily attended. Lily sat beside her. During the vows, Lily whispered, Are you okay? Emily thought about it. Yes. Really? Yes. Then she smiled. I am also remembering he forgot half our vows because he was nervous. Lily covered her mouth to hide a laugh. After the ceremony, Daniel found Emily. Thank you for coming. You're welcome. He hesitated. I meant what I said years ago. What? That I'm sorry. Emily looked at him. I know. And I'm grateful you didn't make Lily choose. So am I. He nodded. Sarah joined them. Are you two being emotionally mature without supervision? Emily laughed, apparently. Daniel groaned. The past was still there. It simply no longer owned every room. Emily eventually dated again. At first she hated it, the apps, the small talk, the questions. One man spent 20 minutes explaining cryptocurrency. Emily left before dessert. Then she met Marcus Reed at a charity event. He was 61, a widower, high school history teacher, and terrible dancer. He did not try to impress her. That impressed her. Their relationship moved slowly. When he asked why her marriage ended, Emily told him the truth. Not only Daniel's affair, her fear, the hidden account, the emotional distance, the way both of them had mistaken silence for peace. Marcus listened, then said, Sounds like you learned a lot. Emily smiled. I paid tuition. He laughed. They married 5 years later. Small ceremony. Lily stood beside Emily. Daniel attended with Sarah. At the reception, Marcus raised a glass. I want to thank everyone who helped Emily become the woman I get to love. Daniel nearly choked. Emily stared at Marcus. He grinned too much. And yes, fair. Everyone laughed. Later, Daniel approached Marcus. You're a brave man. Marcus looked at him. Why? You just thank me for helping your wife become your wife. Marcus shrugged. Life is weird. Daniel laughed. So I've noticed. Emily watched them from across the room. For a moment, she remembered the night everything broke. The laptop. The message. The kitchen. I miss waking up next to you. She had once believed that sentence destroyed her life. It did not. Daniel's betrayal ended their marriage. But it also forced every hidden thing into the light. Her fear. His resentment. Their financial secrecy. Their daughter's habit of protecting both parents. The divorce was not a happy event. Emily never rewrote it that way. She did not say everything happened for a reason. Some things happened because people made selfish choices. Some things caused damage that could never be undone. But damage was not the same as destiny. Years after the divorce, Lily married. At the rehearsal dinner, she gave both parents envelopes. Emily opened hers. Inside was a copy of the letter Lily wrote when she was 16. At the bottom, Lily had added one sentence. Thank you for finally trusting me with the truth. Emily cried. Daniel read his own copy. He cried too. At the wedding, Emily and Daniel walked Lily down the aisle together. Marcus sat in the front row beside Sarah. No tension. No performance. Just history arranged honestly. Before the ceremony, Lily squeezed both parents' hands. You two know this is weird, right? Daniel smiled, very. Emily said, we specialize in weird. Lily laughed. Then became serious. I used to think divorce meant the family failed. Emily looked at her. What do you think now? Lily considered. I think sometimes the marriage ends so the people can stop failing each other. Daniel's eyes filled. Emily kissed Lily's cheek. That is annoyingly wise. I went to law school. That explains nothing. They laughed. The music began. They walked. Halfway down the aisle, Emily looked at Daniel. He looked back. There was no longing. No regret. Only recognition. They had once loved each other enough to marry. Then hurt each other enough to divorce. Then, slowly, learned how to become honest enough to remain family. Not husband and wife. Something else. Something that required no pretending. At the reception, Daniel approached Emily while Marcus danced badly with Lily. He's terrible. Emily smiled at dancing. At everything involving rhythm. Daniel laughed. Then said, do you ever think about what would have happened if you stayed? Emily looked at him. No. Never. I used to. What did you imagine? She thought. That we might have repaired it. Daniel nodded. Do you think we could have? Maybe. He looked surprised. Really? Yes. Then why don't you regret leaving? Emily looked toward Marcus, then toward Lily. Because possible is not the same as right. Daniel absorbed that. She continued, I could have stayed. We could have spent years rebuilding trust. Maybe it would have worked. He waited. But I would have been doing it partly because I was afraid to let go. Daniel nodded. And divorce forced both of us to become people we were avoiding. His eyes filled. I'm sorry it took hurting you. So am I. They stood quietly. Then Daniel smiled. You really never asked me to stay. Emily looked at him. No. That haunted me for years. Why? I thought it meant you never loved me enough. Emily's face softened. No. Then what did it mean? She took a breath. It meant I loved myself enough not to beg someone to choose me after he already chose to betray me. Daniel closed his eyes briefly. That is fair. Emily smiled. There's that sentence again. He laughed. Then Marcus called from the dance floor. "Emily, rescue me." She turned. Lily was trying to make him spin. Emily laughed, coming. Daniel watched her go. For years, he had thought the worst moment of his life was the day Emily signed the divorce papers without a fight. He had imagined that if she had cried harder, begged, shouted, demanded he stay, maybe it would have proved something, that she still needed him, that the marriage still mattered. He understood now. Her silence had not been indifference. It had been exhaustion. She had already spent years asking him to come back emotionally. Before she knew, he was physically leaving too. By the time the papers arrived, she was done asking. That realization changed him more than the divorce itself. Later that night, Daniel told Sarah. "She never asked me to stay." Sarah looked at him. "Would you have?" "I don't know." "That is probably why she didn't ask." He nodded. Sarah squeezed his hand. Good marriages are not built on being begged into them. Daniel smiled sadly. "No." Across the room, Emily danced with Marcus. Not elegantly. Not carefully. She laughed when he stepped on her shoe. For most of her first marriage, Emily had confused peace with love. She thought avoiding conflict meant strength. She thought sacrifice meant loyalty. She thought staying meant success. Divorce taught her otherwise. Peace without honesty was just silence. Loyalty without boundaries was surrender. And staying was not always proof of love. Sometimes leaving was. Not because leaving was easy. Because it forced everyone to stop pretending. Years later, when Emily became a grandmother, Lily asked her to watch her son, Caleb, for a weekend. On Sunday morning, Caleb found the old wedding album from Emily and Daniel's marriage. "Grandma, is that Grandpa Daniel?" Emily smiled. "Yes." "You married him." "And yes." "But Grandpa Marcus is your husband." "Also yes." Caleb frowned. "Why?" Lily, standing in the doorway, laughed. "Good luck." Emily gave her a look. Then turned to Caleb. Sometimes people love each other and get married. Then they learn they are better not married. Caleb considered this. "Did you stop loving Grandpa Daniel?" Emily looked at the photograph. Young Daniel. Young Emily. Both smiling. "No." Caleb looked confused. "Then why divorce?" "Because love is important, but it isn't the only thing marriage needs." "What else?" Emily smiled. "Trust." Caleb nodded seriously. Then turned the page. Children accepted complexity faster than adults expected. Emily wished she had known that earlier. That evening, after everyone left, she sat with Marcus on the porch. He held 2 glasses of wine. "Deep thoughts. Apparently I'm teaching a 6-year-old about divorce." "How'd that go?" "He got bored." "Healthy response." Emily laughed. Marcus handed her a glass. "Do you ever wish none of it happened?" She knew what he meant. Daniel. Rachel. The divorce. The years of rebuilding. Emily thought carefully. "I wish Daniel had not betrayed me." Marcus nodded. "I wish Lily had not been hurt." "And yes. I wish I had been more honest sooner." He waited. "But I don't wish my life had stayed the same." Marcus smiled. "Good." "Why?" "I'm selfish." She laughed. He kissed her forehead. The porch light came on automatically. Emily looked at the house. Not the old house from her marriage to Daniel. This one belonged to her and Marcus. Different walls. Different memories. Different life. She thought about the woman she had been the night she found the message on the laptop. That woman had believed betrayal meant she had been foolish to trust. Emily no longer believed that. Trust had not made her foolish. Daniel's dishonesty had made him dishonest. Those were different things. She had also believed divorce meant losing the life she had built. Instead, she learned that a life was not a house, a husband, or a photograph. A life was the person who remained after all of those things changed. She had remained. Then she had grown. Before that final lesson arrived, life tested the family again in a way none of them expected. When Lily was 29, she called Emily at 6:30 on a Wednesday morning. Emily knew something was wrong before her daughter spoke. Mom, I'm here. Lily inhaled sharply. I think Ben is cheating on me. Emily sat upright in bed. Marcus woke beside her. What happened? I found messages. The room disappeared. For 1 second, Emily was back in the old kitchen. Daniel's laptop. Rachel's name. No, she trusts me. Memory was cruel that way. It did not ask permission before turning the present into the past. Emily forced herself to stay with Lily. What kind of messages? Flirty, maybe more. Did you ask him? No. Why not? Lily started crying. Because I'm afraid. Emily closed her eyes. Ben had been Lily's boyfriend for almost 4 years. Kind, funny, a civil engineer. Emily liked him. Daniel liked him. Marcus liked him. Ben had even asked both Emily and Daniel separately for advice about proposing. Afraid of what? Emily asked. That if I ask, everything changes. Emily looked at Marcus. He was awake now, listening without pretending not to. Emily said quietly, everything may already have changed. Lily sobbed. I know. Emily did not tell her to confront him immediately. She did not tell her to leave. She did not tell her that cheaters never changed. She did not turn Daniel's betrayal into instructions for Lily. Instead, she asked, what do you need from me right now? There was a long silence. I don't know. That's okay. I thought you'd tell me what to do. I could. Why aren't you? Emily smiled sadly. Because I spent too much of my life thinking love meant making decisions for people before they were ready to make them themselves. Lily breathed shakily. So what do I do? Ask the question you're afraid to ask. Lily was silent. Emily continued. And then believe the answer only if his actions can support it. That afternoon, Lily confronted Ben. He had not slept with anyone, but he had been exchanging intimate messages with an ex-girlfriend for nearly 3 months. He called it harmless. Lily called it betrayal. They broke up for 6 weeks. Then entered counseling. Emily watched carefully. Not Ben. Lily. Her daughter was desperate for certainty. Do you think I'm stupid if I stay? No. Do you think he'll do it again? I don't know. Would you stay? Emily looked at her. That question sounds simple, but it isn't. You left Dad. And yes. And so? So I was me in that marriage after 15 years with your father. You are you in this relationship with Ben. Lily frowned. That is frustrating. I know. Can't you just tell me? I can tell you what I would pay attention to. What? Whether he is more concerned with repairing what he damaged or convincing you that you're overreacting. Lily absorbed that. Anything else? Whether his honesty continues after the crisis passes. Emily paused. And whether staying requires you to abandon something important in yourself. Lily's eyes filled. You didn't stay because you would have abandoned yourself. Emily nodded. And yes. Did you know that at the time? No. That answer seemed to help more than certainty would have. Ben changed. Not perfectly. Consistently. He stopped minimizing. He showed Lily his messages without being asked, then later asked whether continuing that kind of surveillance was actually helping her heal. He attended counseling even after Lily said she was ready to stop. He told his ex directly that their contact had crossed a line and ended it. Most importantly, he stopped asking Lily when she planned to get over it. A year later, they married. Emily stood beside Lily before the ceremony. "You okay?" she asked. Lily smiled. "Nervous. Good. Good. You are making a serious promise. Some nerves are healthy." Lily looked at herself in the mirror. "Do you trust him?" Emily thought. "And yes. Even after what happened. And yes." "How?" "Because trust after betrayal is not the same as trust before it." Lily turned. "What do you mean?" "Before betrayal, trust is partly assumption. After betrayal, if it comes back, it is built from evidence." Lily nodded slowly. "Did you ever rebuild trust with Dad?" "And yes. Just not marriage." "Exactly." Lily smiled. "I think I finally understand that." At the ceremony, Daniel sat beside Sarah. Marcus sat beside Emily. Nobody was pretending the family had followed a normal path. They had simply stopped believing normal was the goal. A few years later, Rachel Monroe contacted Emily. The email arrived on a Tuesday afternoon. Emily almost deleted it without reading. Subject: something I should have said years ago. Her hands went cold. She left it unopened for 2 days. Then curiosity won. "Emily, I don't know whether contacting you is selfish. It probably is. I have thought about apologizing many times and always decided that appearing in your life again would ask you to carry something for me. I still may be doing that. I am sorry." Not in the vague way people apologize when they want relief. "I knew Daniel was married. I knew about Lily. I met you. I stood in your home and accepted your kindness while I was betraying you. For years I told myself Daniel was unhappy, that your marriage was already over emotionally, that I wasn't responsible for promises I had not made. Those things made my choices easier to live with. They did not make them less cruel. Daniel ended our relationship the night you found the messages. I was angry at him for choosing his family after telling me for months that he loved me. It took me a long time to understand how distorted that anger was. I do not expect forgiveness or a response. I only wanted to say clearly that you did not imagine what was happening, you did not cause it, and you did not deserve it." "Rachel." Emily read the email twice, then closed it. She expected rage. There was some. She expected satisfaction. There was almost none. What surprised her was sadness. Not for Rachel exactly. For all of them. For the extraordinary amount of human energy spent protecting selfish choices with stories. Daniel had told Rachel the marriage was emotionally dead. Rachel had told herself Daniel's vows were not her responsibility. Emily had told herself silence was peace. Everyone had needed a narrative. Truth was usually less elegant. People wanted something. They were afraid. They behaved badly. They hurt others. Emily did not reply that day. A week later, she did. "Rachel, I received your message. I spent years believing I needed an explanation that would make what happened understandable. I don't anymore. You hurt me. Daniel hurt me. My marriage ended. I survived. I appreciate that your apology does not ask me to tell you it was okay. It was not. I hope the person you are now makes different choices." Emily. She showed Marcus before sending it. He read the message. "That's generous." "No, it isn't. It's not cruel. Those are different. Marcus smiled. Fair. She sent it. Rachel never contacted her again. When Emily told Daniel months later, he went quiet. She apologized. And yes. What did you say? Emily told him. Daniel nodded. Did it help? A little. He looked surprised. Why? Because she didn't explain. Daniel stared at her. Emily continued. Explanations are useful when people are trying to understand behavior. They are dangerous when people use them to negotiate the size of the harm. Daniel looked down. I did that. For years. I know. You kept telling me you were lonely. I was. You kept telling me we were disconnected. We were. You kept telling me the attention felt good. It did. Emily nodded. All of that can be true. Daniel waited. And you still chose to betray me. And yes. He looked at her. I think I spent years needing you to agree that the marriage helped cause the affair. Emily's eyes narrowed slightly. The marriage had problems. I know. The affair was your response to those problems. And yes, that part belongs to you. Daniel nodded. It does. Something quiet passed between them. Not reconciliation. That had happened long ago. Clarity. The kind that arrives only when nobody is trying to win anymore. Another test came when Emily's mother, Joan, became ill. Joan had always liked Daniel. After the divorce, she remained civil but distant with him. She had never forgiven the affair. At 83, after a stroke, Joan moved temporarily into Emily and Marcus's home. Caregiving exhausted Emily. She stopped hiking. She canceled dinners. She slept lightly, listening for movement from the guest room. Marcus helped without complaint. One night, after Joan had fallen asleep, Emily stood at the kitchen sink crying. Marcus came behind her. What happened? Nothing. He waited. Emily laughed through tears. I know, wrong answer. Marcus leaned against the counter. What happened? I'm tired. I'm okay. I'm angry. At your mom. And yes. I'm okay. Emily looked at him, startled. You're not going to tell me not to be. No. She had a stroke. And yes. She can't help needing me. And yes. And I'm angry that she needs me. Marcus nodded. That sounds exhausting. Emily cried harder. For most of her life, she would have punished herself for the feeling. Good daughters did not resent sick mothers. Good wives did not feel lonely. Good mothers did not tell children painful truths. Good people, she had once believed, felt the correct emotions at the correct time. Now she knew better. Feelings were not promises. Choices were. I need help, Emily said. Marcus nodded. Then we get help. They hired a home health aide 3 afternoons a week. Emily's sister, Megan, took weekends twice a month. Lily handled pharmacy pickups. Daniel, unexpectedly, offered to drive Joan to physical therapy. Emily stared at him when he suggested it. She still scares me, he said. She is 83. She can judge me from a wheelchair. Emily laughed. Joan accepted his help. The first drive was awkward. The third was not. One afternoon, Joan told Daniel, I hated you. Daniel looked straight ahead. I know. I still think what you did was terrible. I do too. Joan nodded. But Emily is happy. And yes. And Lily loves you. And yes. And Sarah seems sensible. Daniel smiled. And she is. Joan looked out the window. I suppose life refused to stay ruined just because I thought it should. Daniel swallowed. That happened to me too. By the time Joan recovered enough to move back home, Daniel and Emily had become something neither could have imagined the day the divorce decree was signed. Not friends exactly. Family by history. There were boundaries. There were subjects they did not need to revisit. There were holidays they shared and others they did not. But there was trust. A strange rebuilt trust. If Daniel said he would pick up Caleb at 4, Emily believed him. If Emily said Lily needed support, Daniel listened. If either said something uncomfortable, the other no longer treated discomfort as danger. One Christmas, the entire extended family gathered at Lily and Ben's house. Sarah brought dessert. Marcus burned the ham. Daniel insisted it was caramelized. Emily said meat should not be caramelized. Lily shouted from the kitchen, "Nobody divorce anybody over the ham." The room erupted in laughter. Even Daniel. Especially Daniel. Later, Emily stood alone near the tree. Sarah joined her. "You okay?" "And yes." Sarah smiled. "Riedel, yes." Emily laughed. "Riedel, yes." Sarah looked toward Daniel, who was helping Caleb assemble a toy. "He talks about you differently now." Emily raised an eyebrow. "That sounds dangerous." "No, I mean he doesn't talk about losing you like someone stole something from him." Emily listened. "He talks about it like something he caused." "That took a long time." Sarah nodded. "He used to think shame was accountability." Emily looked at her. Sarah continued. "They're not the same." "No." Shame says I'm terrible. Accountability says, I did something terrible. What am I going to do now? Emily smiled. "I like you." Sarah laughed. "I was hoping you'd get there eventually." Emily had. That was another thing divorce taught her. The next person was not automatically the enemy. Sarah had not stolen or repaired Daniel. She had met the man who existed after consequence. Emily could appreciate that, without wishing she had waited for him to become that man. People sometimes asked whether Daniel's transformation made Emily question the divorce. It did not. Growth after losing someone did not mean the person you lost should have stayed and endured the process. Sometimes consequence was part of the growth. That truth became even clearer when Emily spoke at a women's community group about financial independence after divorce. She had not planned to discuss her personal life. Then a woman in the audience asked, "How do you know when you have tried enough?" Emily paused. There was no universal answer. She hated advice that pretended otherwise. "I don't think there is a number," she said. The room was quiet. "I don't think you can say 3 months of counseling, or 1 separation, or 1 apology." The woman nodded. Emily continued. "But I think there is a question." "What?" "Are you both trying to repair the relationship, or is one person trying to preserve it, while the other tries to preserve access to the benefits of it?" The room stayed silent. Emily's thought of Daniel. Of Rachel. Of herself. Another question is whether staying requires you to betray yourself in order to forgive someone else. After the event, a younger woman approached her. "My husband cheated." Emily's chest tightened. "I'm sorry. He wants me to stay." "What do you want?" "I don't know." Emily nodded. "That is allowed." The woman cried. "Everyone tells me if I leave, I didn't fight for my marriage." Emily's expression softened. "Leaving does not prove you failed to fight. What if he really changes?" "He might." The woman stared. "And you can still decide the marriage is over." The woman cried harder. Emily took her hand. His growth does not create a debt you must repay with your life. Years earlier, Emily had needed someone to tell her that. Now she could tell someone else. Not as a rule. As permission. When she returned home, Marcus was asleep on the couch with a history documentary playing. Emily turned off the television. He opened one eye. Did I miss anything? Several wars. Who won? Human disappointment. Sounds right. She laughed, then sat beside him. Marcus looked at her. How was the talk? Hard. Good hard. Yes. He took her hand. Emily thought about marriage. Her first. Her second. How different they were. Not because Marcus was perfect. He was not. They fought. Once, they went 3 days barely speaking, after Marcus invited his brother to stay for 2 weeks without asking Emily. Old Emily might have swallowed the anger. New Emily said, "You made a decision about my home without me." Marcus became defensive. Then apologized. Not immediately. Eventually. They argued about money. Travel. Retirement. How much to help adult children. Whether Marcus needed another motorcycle. He did not. He bought one anyway. Emily was furious. They survived. The difference was not the absence of conflict. It was that conflict no longer threatened reality. Nobody needed to lie to keep the peace. Nobody had to wonder whether a difficult conversation would make the other person disappear. Trust was not a permanent feeling. It was a pattern. 1,000 small moments where truth was safer than performance. One night, Marcus asked, "Do you trust me more than you trusted Daniel?" Emily thought carefully. That question is unfair to both of you. Why? I trusted Daniel completely once. Marcus waited. The problem wasn't that my trust was too big. What was it? He stopped behaving like someone trustworthy. Marcus nodded. Emily squeezed his hand. I trust you because of what you do with the truth when it makes you uncomfortable. Marcus smiled. That is the least romantic compliment I've ever received. It's the best one I have. I'll take it. And he did. The years made the old betrayal smaller without making it unreal. That was how healing worked for Emily. Not erasure. Proportion. There was a time when Rachel's name could ruin a week. Later, it could ruin an hour. Eventually, it became a fact. A painful fact. One among thousands. Daniel had cheated. Emily had left. Lily had hurt. They had rebuilt. Life had continued. The betrayal remained part of the story. It stopped being the title. One summer, Lily asked Emily a question that brought the whole story back to its simplest form. They were sitting beside a lake while Caleb and his younger sister chased each other near the water. Mom, what would you tell your younger self if you could go back to the night you found the messages? Emily watched the children. I don't think I would tell her to leave. Lily looked surprised. I thought you'd say exactly that. No. Why? Because she had to decide that herself. Lily smiled faintly. You really committed to this no instructions philosophy. Emily laughed. I would tell her to stop asking what decision would make everyone else least uncomfortable. Lily became quiet. Emily continued. I spent days worrying about you, your grandparents, friends, money, the house, holidays, what people would think. I was trying to solve the consequences before I even admitted what had happened to me. What would you tell her instead? To ask one question. What do I know now that I did not know yesterday? Lily waited. I knew my husband had lied to me for almost a year. I knew he had built another relationship, while keeping our marriage intact enough to protect his comfort. I knew I had been lonely long before I knew why. Emily looked at her daughter. That was enough information for the next step. Divorce. No honesty. Lily nodded. Emily smiled. We think major life decisions arrive as one dramatic answer. Usually they arrive as smaller truths we finally stop arguing with. Lily leaned back. Do you think Dad understands that? And yes. How do you know? Because he stopped asking me to reinterpret what he did in a way that made him feel less ashamed. Lily looked toward the water. I'm glad you two are okay now. So am I. Do you ever think it's strange that we all ended up having dinner together? Constantly. Lily laughed. Most divorced families I know don't do that. Most divorced families do not need to. Lily looked at her. Emily explained. We did not rebuild this because divorce is supposed to become friendship. We rebuilt it because it worked for us, and because your father eventually learned how to respect boundaries he once resented. And you. I learned that boundaries are not punishment. Lily smiled. You used to be bad at that. Terrible. You once apologized to me for not answering the phone while you were in the shower. I was recovering. From what? Being ridiculous. They both laughed. Caleb ran toward them holding a flat stone. Grandma, watch. Emily watched him throw it. The stone hit the water once and sank. He turned proudly. Did you see? I saw. It skipped. It absolutely did not. It almost skipped. Lily said, in this family, we tell the truth. Caleb frowned. Emily burst out laughing. The phrase became a family joke. But beneath the joke was something serious. The family no longer measured love by how well people protected each other from discomfort. They measured it by whether the truth could survive in the room without destroying belonging. That had taken years. It had cost a marriage. It had required apologies that did not demand forgiveness, forgiveness that did not require reunion, and boundaries that did not require hatred. Nothing about it was simple. But it was real. Years later, Emily would remember that afternoon whenever someone asked whether divorce had destroyed her family. She always answered the same way. The divorce ended a marriage that could no longer hold the truth. What came afterward depended on what each person chose to build. Some relationships disappeared. Others changed shape. A few became stronger because nobody had to pretend anymore. She did not celebrate the betrayal, and she never romanticized the pain. She simply refused to let the worst decision Daniel ever made become the final definition of everyone who survived it. The final lesson came many years later. Daniel became seriously ill at 72. Cancer. Treatable but difficult. Sarah called Emily. I thought you should know. Emily sat down. How bad? We don't know yet. Does Lily know? And yes. Emily visited Daniel in the hospital. Marcus drove her. Sarah hugged her at the door. Daniel looked smaller in the bed. Hey, he said. Hey. He smiled full circle. Emily frowned. What? Hospital rooms and bad decisions. She rolled her eyes. You are not allowed to become philosophical because you are sick. Fair. They talked. About Lily. About grandchildren. About treatment. Then Daniel became serious. I need to say something. Emily waited. If this goes badly. Daniel. Let me. She nodded. He continued. I spent years thinking losing you was punishment. Emily's face softened. Then I realized losing you was consequence. She swallowed. There is a difference. And yes. And learning the difference saved the rest of my life. Emily's eyes filled. He smiled, Sarah got a better man than you did. Emily laughed through tears. That is annoyingly true. He laughed too. I'm sorry. I know. I know you know. They were quiet. Then Emily said, I forgive you. Daniel looked at her. She had never said it so directly. Not because she had not forgiven him before. Because forgiveness had happened gradually. In choices. In birthdays. In school events. In honest conversations. The words had become almost unnecessary. Still, he needed them. His eyes filled. Thank you. She took his hand. You also need to forgive yourself. He looked away. That part's harder. I know. Daniel recovered. Slowly. Years later, when he died peacefully in his sleep at 81, Emily stood beside Lily at the funeral. Sarah spoke. Lily spoke. Emily did not. She did not need to. Afterward, Lily found her near the church steps. You okay? Emily nodded, sad. Me too. They stood together. Lily said you loved him. And yes. And Marcus. And yes. That used to confuse me. What changed? Lily smiled through tears. You taught me love isn't instructions. Emily laughed. I stole that from you. Then I'm taking it back. They hugged. At home that evening, Emily opened an old box. Inside were copies of the divorce papers. She had forgotten she kept them. Her signature was at the bottom. Clean. Steady. No fight. No note. No plea. She remembered Daniel asking years later why she never asked him to stay. Now, at 80, Emily finally understood the full answer. She had not asked because some choices had already been made. Daniel chose secrecy. Rachel. Distance. Emily's choice was what came after. She chose not to bargain for a version of love that required persuasion. She chose not to teach Lily that marriage had to survive at any cost. She chose not to stay simply because leaving was frightening. And because she left, all of them were eventually forced to become more honest. That did not make betrayal good. It did not make divorce painless. It made growth possible. Emily folded the papers. Then placed them back in the box. Marcus called from the living room. You hiding? No. You're taking forever. I'm 80. You use that excuse constantly. It keeps working. She smiled. Then stood. Before closing the box, she looked once more at the decree. For years, she had thought of that document as proof that something ended. Now she saw something else. A boundary. A decision. A beginning. Emily closed the box. Then walked back toward the people who had stayed in her life, not because they were forced to, not because they were afraid to leave, but because they kept choosing honesty. And after everything, that was the kind of love she trusted most.